Hi. Cold. It's cold here. We are just about to have another winter storm. Load of snow this afternoon. That's what I get for moving to Colorado. Another thing that I get for moving to Colorado is coyotes and raccoons. And I know I wasn't on much last week. It's a bit of a shit week, honestly. When my cat, little Dave, went missing. She went missing about a week ago today. And pretty sure what's happened to her is she probably got by a coyote. And so the thing is we let the cats be indoor and outdoor cats because they love going outdoors. And then, but this keeps happening. So now we've taken the cat flap away. And Teddy is the only one left. And I feel like shit because I feel like I've taken Teddy's freedom away. I mean, was actually a feral cat. And now he's just only going to be in the house. And that just feels really sad. And he's been sitting at the window where the cat flap used to be, sort of looking outside. So now I feel crappy about that. But I also don't want him to end up dead. Anyway, so that's my shitty week. Ooh, lots of questions. All right. Yeah. Oh, so Sonia says I've been quiet the past week. That's why. Cat died. No foals, Robin. No bloody foals yet. Anyway, Pondering Prose says, hi, could you talk about issues with spending money and the need to check the bank balance justifying spending even $1? I'm struggling with it despite gaining weight and eating more for a long time. Well, it's also something that you need to rewire. So like many things that get set in place neurally when we have an eating disorder, the weight gain is going to help for sure, but you're going to have to work on specifically rewiring, teaching your brain that resources aren't scarce by acting as if resources are scarce. And it's the resource scarcity mindset, it's the illusion of resource scarcity, the energy deficit gives the brain, that makes some of us go super weird about money and hoarding things and all of those things. I love him so much. Getting out of energy deficit will absolutely aid that, but then you've got all of those neural pathways that are set up, and so you do have to actually rewire them quite specifically, and that means that you're going to have to force yourself to go against a lot of the habits that you've got. So number one is going to be, don't be checking, don't let yourself, it's a bit like when you want to weigh yourself and you want to check your weight, just don't do it. Don't let yourself check the balance all the time. Be a little bit wild whenever of course it's not all of us are made of money, so you can't just go around like throwing money around and spending everything, but you know the difference between that and being as completely tight as you are when you have an eating disorder. And so it's forcing yourself to actually spend the money that you can spend, and that's the way you have to do it. Meg says, well, I completely appreciate the scientific nature and simplicity of your approach. As surely as someone who suffered for the last 10 past years, you appreciate that it isn't always as easy just to eat and rest. Yeah, but it kind of is though, isn't it? Exactly. I had it 12 years really, and that's exactly what I did. I just ate and rested. It actually really is that easy. Like anything, fear can make us make the easiest thing feel not easy, but the fact that it seems complicated, the fact that you're afraid of it doesn't actually stop it being easy and stop it being that simple, because it is, and that's the reality. Zoe says, what do you think of food? What if you think of food a lot of trauma, not mental hunger? I don't know, you'd have to ask a trauma therapist that. Are you sure that's not the same thing? What evidence is there that thinking of food is a trauma thing and not just your body's trauma? You're traumatized, so that takes more energy to be traumatized, so therefore you're more hungry. Right. Holly says, what's your favorite motivation quote? Oh, for fuck's sake, I don't know. I'm not a motivational quote type of person. Get on with it. Is that a motivational quote? Matthew says, "Hi Tabitha, I was wondering if you consider translating your books into different languages." Absolutely. Well, I haven't considered it because I don't talk any other languages because I'm a bit thick like that. And boy, did I try. I took, when I took psychology level, they taught us about this thing called language acquisition device, your brain, which means that's why when you learn languages when you're young, you can be like bilingual. And anyway, I didn't start learning French until I was 14, so it's way. And then when I was at university with an eating disorder and studying 3 other courses, and with my mental workout regime, all that, I decided I'd also take up Spanish. Absolute shit at it. I probably couldn't tell you one Spanish word. Ciao? Is ciao Spanish? I literally can't think of a Spanish word. That's how thick I am at languages. So I can't translate them. However, I've translated pretty much all of them into Spanish. She could have written anything in there. I wouldn't know because I don't speak Spanish, do I? So I'm just trusting her that she's actually translated it and not just written her any old thing. And then, I do get quite a lot. I get emailed, and often somebody will say, "Can I translate your book into French or German?" And I'm always just like, you know what, just go for it. And if you publish it, then that's totally, just do it. But you just got to credit me as the author. So I think people have. I'll look it up. Woke up 1, 2, 3. Hi Tabitha, I can't seem to stop the exercise compulsion. Promise you can if you really try. What did you do? I don't know what to do with myself as I can't take a walk in the day and I feel like I can't eat. Oh, it's just the problem, isn't it? It's not that you can't stop exercise. You don't know how to stop exercise and not want to eat the whole time. So it's not like you're just committing to stopping the exercise when you stop exercise. You're also committing to allow yourself to eat more and gain weight, and their life your problem because you're afraid of weight gain. And because you're afraid of weight gain, there's nothing that I'm going to do. There's nothing I can say that's going to make it feel easier. There's nothing I can say that's going to make you feel like, oh, yeah, actually, great, I'll just stop exercise. Because you're going to be scared. And you're going to be scared today and tomorrow and next week and next year. And so have to do it. And all of that free time that you're going to have where you're not going to be exercising, you're going to want to eat. And you have to allow yourself to eat, because the whole point of stopping exercise is to recover, right? And if you want to recover, you also have to eat without restriction. And eat without restriction means not distracting yourself with exercise, not distracting yourself from your hunger. Don't expect to not feel afraid. That's the whole point of overcoming fear, is that we have to do things that we're afraid of. You're afraid of stopping exercise because you're afraid of the associated weight gain, and you know that you're going to eat more. Double whammy, isn't it? Just do it. The fear will be right there, and you absolutely can handle it. But it's just about making that decision to jump out the plane. Emily W says, oh, I lost Emily W. God's sake. I'm trying to find you again, Emily W. I don't come on here enough. There's quite a lot of questions. I feel like I need to write all these questions down. Relapse. How can this be explained using a migration theory, etc.? I felt sure I'd not put myself through it again. It's just, if you go into energy deficit, then the genetics are going to spark off again. It really is as simple as that. Like, it's the same thing. Like, just because you recovered doesn't mean that you no longer have the genetic predisposition for an eating disorder should you go into energy deficit. Therefore, of course, if you go into energy deficit, you're going to relapse. Tilly says, I just recently started real recovery and I'm trying my best to respond to all of my mental and physical hunger cues. However, it seems that the more I've been eating, the worse my... and then I've lost Tilly. Oh, mental hunger is getting. I now find myself completely incapable of doing anything because literally all I can think of is eating food. I thought it was bad before. Is this normal? Yes. Yes. The more you eat, the more you want to eat. You'd be so surprised. You'll be so surprised how much you can consume, Tilly. Just don't worry about it. It won't be like that forever, but it's going to be like that for a while. Try and enjoy it. Jazz says, what can I do when I'm afraid of cooking? Because seeing the ingredients amounts freaks me out. Get someone else to cook for you. Oh, you probably hate that idea, don't you? Because then you won't know what's going into it, exactly why you should do it. You could get takeout. You could buy pre-made foods. There's a lot of things that you can do to avoid cooking. And if you are someone that feels that they need to cook all their own food, I would actually encourage you to not, and to challenge yourself to eat pre-cooked foods. If your desire to cook is not necessarily disordered, and if it is a necessity and all of those things, and if you do have to cook, then I don't know. What I used to do is I'd open things and I'd take them out the packet, and so I couldn't see sort of what was in, and I'd like cap the packet at arm's length and put it in the bin before I could even look at it. I just had to, and I had this thing, whereas if I did see the calorie information on it and my brain started like doing that, I had to just eat something in that moment to sort of like screw up with it, and that would really annoy my brain. You just have to really go to lengths to not let yourself look. I like that you're asking the question, but if you do find yourself looking at the calories and comparing it, then just make yourself eat something extra that's not kind of portioned, or not kind of, so that you just don't necessarily know what the calories are in it. And be patient with yourself as well, because the desire to always be looking at calories and calorie information, that's something you have to rewire it. Obviously you're working on it, so it will take a bit of time, and you just have to keep up with it, do your best, right? Shannon says, I tend to feel threatened when I suspect other people around me have eating disorders. Is there an evolutionary theory to this thought pattern? I feel like the competitiveness thing is, I just feel like, say if you're in a tribe of people and there's some of you that really, it's almost like this martyring thing. We're the ones that be the scouts. We'd be going ahead. We'd be moving a lot. We'd be collecting food, any food that was around, and bringing it back to other people because we won't want to eat it ourselves and things like that. And it's almost like our brains go into this drive of, I want to be the best martyr. And that would be at our expense. But if we weren't competitive about being a martyr, which is what we are, if we weren't competitive about being very good at doing what we do when we have an eating disorder, well, it just sort of wouldn't have worked, would it? Wouldn't migrate very well. You'd be like, oh, fuck this, can't be bothered. And you wouldn't be that person that's sort of just on the move the whole time and bringing any food that they did find back to other people and helping the other people that don't have those genetics. It's hard to know with like, we can only make guesses at any evolutionary thing, can't we? But I do think that all traits have evolved for a reason. I'll think about that one some more, though. Oh, I completely lost my place now, so I'm just going to pick something at random. Emily W. says, why do eating disorders thrive on comparison? Oh, just answer that question. Catherine says, hi Tabitha, I'm a school student, and my class there's another girl who has anorexia, and it's really hard to see her every day. Oh, there's a lot of comparison questions here. And, you know, with Catherine's question, it seems like that, you know, that person is just seeing that person every day feels is detrimental to recovery. And it's like, hey, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't, if there's somebody at school that also has an eating disorder, or somebody in your life that also has an eating disorder, well, you can't just very well make them go away a lot of the time. And that can be really, really difficult, but you sort of have to see it. You have to categorize it as one of the challenges. And actually, whenever you see that person, you're going to try even harder to not have an eating disorder. You're going to, every single time that your brain makes a bit of a comparison or tells you, well, I only ate that much, so I should only eat that much. It should be like a red flag to a bull. You go, oh yeah, well, watch this. I'm going to eat even more. And that's the only way. It's like with everything with eating disorders, whatever the inclination is, the disordered inclination, we just have to force ourselves to do the exact opposite. Okay, Valley of Light says, any tips for body dysmorphia? I always feel fat. I see pictures of me 2 weeks ago. I think I was skinnier than now, but the moment I look the selfie, I felt fat too. Well, I feel like the thing with body dysmorphia is the only thing that you can really do is you have to understand, I have body dysmorphia. Therefore, whatever my brain tells me about my body, I can't trust. you have to know that you can't trust it. Like, you do know that you can't trust it because you've got body dysmorphia, but at the same time, you're still trusting it. There is the problem. Once you know you have body dysmorphia, and therefore you know you can't trust whatever your brain tells you about your body, there's not really any excuse, is there, for getting all upset, like, oh God, I look awful and stuff like that, because it's just like, you should know better than that. And that's true for a lot of things in recovery. We have to do better when we know better. You can't keep on falling for the same old traps and tricks. If you know that your brain tells you stuff about your body that you shouldn't trust and can't trust, then you have to stop acting as if you trust it, right? And that's, if you can stop acting as if you trust your body when it tells you that's, I'm always one for saying trust your body, I know that, but that's when it comes to hunger. When you've got body dysmorphia, you absolutely can't trust your brain about what your body looks like, right? And so if you know that, then it's almost like you can train yourself not to pay any attention to what your brain says about your body, and then it stops being a problem. It's like you create this mental loophole. So if you really practice every single time your brain tells you something about your body, if you just practice, like, not ignoring that, I'm ignoring that, I'm ignoring that, not true, brain doesn't know what it's talking about, you ignore that, you ignore that, you ignore it. After a while, it's almost like you create this shortcut in your brain that goes, whenever your body dysmorphia starts to kick off, it kind of straight shortcuts to, oh, it's just my stupid body dysmorphia, I'm not even paying attention to it. And you just bypass the whole emotional reaction to it. But you have to train that shortcut in. And the only way that you're going to train that shortcut in so that it cuts to the point where it's actually just happens naturally, the only way you're going to train that in is by intervening in the short run, training it when you notice that your brain's having that body dysmorphia, or your body dysmorphia is telling you stuff and you're actually paying attention, and you have to intervene and go, like, nope, not paying attention to it. And if you keep on doing that, you're going to wire in that shortcut, which stops it being a problem. But it's all about taking control, isn't it? Taking control of your emotional reactions, taking control of your reactions to what your brain is telling you. And like I said at the start, if you know that you have body dysmorphia, there's just no excuse, is there, for falling into a negative body image stuff? Like, you know you have body dysmorphia, you know you can't trust what your brain's telling you about that picture, right? Okay, so grumpy old me, who only has one cat left. Well, that's not exactly true. I have about 5 barn cats that live outside, but only one house cat. Grumpy old me is going to go, and hopefully I'll be in a happier mood tomorrow. Bye.